Amazing because our passion is limitless and our drive is intense. Therefore, you will not deny our grind. You are now watching the Faith Grind Inspire podcast with your host, Dr. Gina Alerte.
Welcome back to another episode of Faith Grind Inspire. I am your host, Gene Alert, and today we have a special guest, and the special guest is me. Now I'm joking.
Hey.
It is me today, but we have a special guest. Her name is Wynnie Lamour, and of the Haitian Creole Institute.
Yes,
and she is a professor. She's a linguist by trade.
Yes.
And she has the Haitian Tea Party everyone's talking about. Airbnb,
yes.
Like thousands of reviews. Boom, boom, right? But since today is the last episode of the year, we decided to do something different, right? You know, Christmas was yesterday. Today's December 26th. So as you opening your gifts, we decided to switch it up a little, right? Since this is the last episode of the year. And Winnie's a longtime listener of the show.
Yes.
So she's like, we need to interview you. And I was like, you know what? That's a good idea. Right? I was like, who's best to interview me but the professor? Right? So tell the people who a little bit about you, and then we'll get right into it.
All right. So thank you so much, Gene, for having me here. I'm excited always to be witness to your journey. So I'm really excited to have a conversation with you today. So my name is Wynnie. Miss Wynnie, if you know, just kidding. I run the Haitian Creole Language Institute of New York, and it really serves as like an umbrella for multiple activities that we organize. We hold full-length courses in Haitian Creole. Everything we do is dedicated to the study of Haitian Creole. And in some capacity, we connect Haitian culture to it. So we also run the Haitian Tea Party. We run a preschool program for children called Jardin Timon.
Yes, my son attends.
Yes,
yeah.
We have a program called Mother Tongues United, which brings together different historically undervalued languages. We do a whole bunch of stuff, but everything comes back to Haiti in some capacity.
That's what's up. And what made you start? Like, what made you become a linguist?
I mean, how many hours do we have?
All right. You know what? Because I'm switching it back to my normal thing.
Well, really quick, I grew up speaking multiple languages at home. So I learned English as a second language. I learned Spanish really young. So I just kind of have this interest in language in general. Mm-hmm. So by the time I made it to undergrad and graduate school, I decided to focus my studies on linguistics. So it seemed like the natural, organic path for me to take.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. Well,
thank you.
And you're on Faith Grind Inspire, so you're inspiring so many people doing this. So okay, so I'm nervous. This is the first time I got interviewed on my show. So
shouldn't I be asking you the questions?
You are. All
right. So, the first thing that pops out at me is the title of your program, Faith Grind Inspire.
Uh-huh.
And we're both New Yorkers. I mean, and we're also New Yorkers at heart. And everybody talks about being on the grind. Like everybody on the corner talks about, I'm on the grind. I'm on the grind. I'm on the grind. But honestly, I want to know, what does the grind mean to you? Like, what does that look like for you?
Now, before I answer that, right? I'm going to answer it.
Okay.
But I want you to tell me, because you actually witnessed me grind.
That's true.
I know when you were writing that question or putting it together, what was going through? I want you to tell me, what you see, how my grind is. And then I'm explaining to you.
You and I talk all the time, so it's really like we're just talking to each other in the office.
Yeah.
But what does the grind look like for you? Honestly, for me, when I see you work, it just looks like passion, just like 100%, 1,000%. Like, this is what you've decided to do and you stick to it. And not just passion because, everyone has a passion. Like, some people are passionate about chocolate and some people are passionate about music, but they don't do anything about it. But for you, it's passion plus consistency. So every week I see you say membagayo. It's like the same stuff. Like, you just at it and you're just picking away at it until you get to the center of the thing you want to get to the center of. So
yeah. All right. See. All right. Cool. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
So the grind for me, I was telling someone before, it's more of I guess it was instilled in me young. Mm-hmm. Like, I've always watched my father grind.
Yes.
I've always, like, I just saw, and I know the sacrifice that my parents gave.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, there was a lot of sacrifices for me to be where I am, you know? And I just don't want to disappoint anybody, and I don't want to disappoint myself. And I know if I don't work, if I don't put in that work and keep running, like, there's other people that besides me, if I don't come to work, something else is going to happen to someone else. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I know, even though I'm not responsible for anybody's success, but but the thing is, like, I feel like I am.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I feel like I'm obligated to win for people that I've never even met. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's people that hit me up from Buffalo, from Alabama, from Georgia, from, like, Texas. I don't know these people. And they're like, yo, because of your post, because of your show, I've listened to your show, I got put onto your show, and I decided to go back to school. I read your book, and this is... So how can I stop? You know what I mean? So that's what the grind is. I can't.
You can't stop.
I can't stop. Not at this point.
But now you're not even talking
I'm all
about...
in.
You're not even talking about grinding anymore. Now you're talking about inspiring.
Yes.
I know that my grind has led to something because people tell me that I've inspired them in some capacity. Like the other day, I went into my office because I also teach Creole at NYU.
NYU?
You know. Hey, pew, 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 pew. I got to the office and there was a book waiting for me in my mailbox. So I take the book out, and it was a copy of Hunger by Roxane Gay. And you know Roxane Gay, she's Haitian American. And so I decided to check out the book, and I opened it up, and it was a signed copy that my student got for me from Roxane Gay. And so I felt to myself, like, what? And she had like a handwritten note telling me, like, oh, how I had inspired her and how I had contributed to her education in ways that she hadn't even imagined. I mean, I was like, okay, I didn't even know that was what I was putting out there. But when you're authentically yourself, I mean, you only get people's authenticity back too. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, that's cool. All right, faith, grind, and inspire.
You see where it goes? You see how it's leading up?
Yes.
Because even though you're grinding, it's always going to be, you're always going to end up inspiring someone.
That's true.
So even if it's just by default, you see what I'm saying? Like,
that's true.
You know, but my goal is to inspire anyway, but you need the faith in yourself. You have to put in the work, and you're going to inspire.
Faith in yourself. Faith in yourself. Speaking of faith in yourself.
Okay.
You know, everyone these days is talking about mindset. That's like the theme du jour.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Everyone's like, mindset this. If you shift your mindset, this is what will happen. And, you know, vision boards and, you know, make lists and get a planner and like all these things. But, you know, no one's really talking about how hard that is. And like, it's really hard to shift your mindset. So my question is, what keeps you inspired? And how did you get to the point where you're like, okay, I know what steps I need to take to create this shift that I need to have happen?
Oh, simple.
Boy.
When I was a kid.
Okay.
Right?
Taking us back?
I'm going to tell a story I've never told before.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Okay.
Well, only on stage, but not on this podcast.
Okay.
When I started off doing mortgages, right?
Okay.
I was driving a 1998 Nissan Altima. Okay. Right?
Very New York of you.
Yeah, but right next to the bank that I worked at, Dynamic Mortgage, there was a car dealership.
Okay.
And the car dealership had a Lexus, right? And there was a Lexus ES 300.
Okay,
right?
taking us back.
Yeah, there was an ES 300, and that ES 300 was there, and basically I wanted it. Okay. Right? And so I went in, asked the guy, how much is this car? Wow. He said, well, per month it's going to cost you $400. I was like, no, it's going to cost you like $600, depending on how much money you put down. So I said, I want this car. So I took pictures of it. I went into, like, you know how they have the car for sale car guides or whatever, the books? I cut out every picture of ES 300s, the Lexus ES 300s. I clipped them and I put them all over my room. I put them in my planner. I put them in my, I had a talk about. I put it in when you open the talk about, I put a picture I glued like tape, double-sided tape, the picture of the ES300 inside of my talk about.
Oh, wow.
So everywhere, and I had pictures
That's all
of
you
it
could see.
everywhere.
Wow.
I had it everywhere. And then I had to walk by this car every day. You know what the owner of the dealership did? He said, yo, you know what? I normally don't do this, but what I'm going to do is every month you could put money down towards that down payment.
Are you serious?
It took me, it took me about 5 months. Every day I would come in, they would put the car in front because they had to wash it. People would be like, yo, I want to buy it. You're like, no, the car's sold. They're like, but it's still here.
Wow.
No, it's sold.
Wow.
The day I went, I was like, I think it was like $200 short. The guy was like, yo, you know what? You earned it. And he gave me the same car payment that I was paying for my Altima, which was like $380, right, a month.
Wow.
And I got the car. So, but ever since I was a kid, I've always had this thing where it was just like,
you got to know what you want.
You have to know what you want,
yeah,
and you have to keep putting it in front of you.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, when you have a vision, you know, some people say, don't share your visions. Keep your vision to yourself.
Yeah. Consagin.
Like this.
Okay.
When I'm clear on the vision, I won't tell you about my vision until it's clear in my mind. So when I start talking about it, when I start putting it out, it's done. When I started telling people about the podcast, I didn't have a podcast. I started telling people, yo, I'm having the podcast. The podcast is going to be this.
That's it.
Fave Grind Spot. I didn't have a logo. I didn't know where I was going to record it. I didn't know what was going to happen.
That's it. You just told people.
But I just told people. Yeah. Frozen yogurt, Brooklyn Swirl, same thing.
Yeah.
It was the same thing. All these businesses, same thing. So I tell people, have the vision clear. Paint the picture, put it in the frame.
Yes.
And then put it up. Or you could do this. Have the frame and then build the picture in it. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
So, but keep doing it. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. Keep doing it.
Okay. You know, a lot of people don't know that. A lot of people know that the mindset is a thing that you have to do, and then you just have to decide you want this, but then they don't actually commit to doing the things that they need to do to get to where they want to go. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, so they don't actually commit to doing the things that they need to do to get to where they want to go. So can I ask you another question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because, you know, I came with a whole bunch of questions because I know that you have like all of the knowledge inside, right?
Yeah.
Right? As my elder.
Your elder? Oh, my goodness. Really? I'm only 36, 37.
So when I first started HCLI, when I first started my institute, I didn't have a blueprint because basically I was doing something that no one else had really done, especially no one else in my generation and no one else even in the generation before me because they didn't even have like access to the stuff, the actual stuff I have access to.
Yeah.
So I was doing things and learning things as I went along. And I'm talking about like the nitty gritty stuff, like how much should my classes cost? You know, like how should I print out my materials? Like how should I provide my materials to my students? Like the actual day-to-day stuff. I want to ask you now, what are some tools that you use now that you wish your younger self had had access to?
You know what? Good question. I would say a CRM system that's like, and I still need it.
Okay.
You know, there's one called Less Annoying CRM. Okay. I wish I had that before.
Okay.
I wish I had a better system to organize my clients.
Oh.
You see what I'm saying? Because even though I have a lot of clients and they're loyal to me, there's still, if I don't speak to you, you might fall in a crack. And,
Spoken like
and
a
there's
Scorpio.
no, and there's no, and there's no way to like bring them. I mean, it's a way to bring them back because of but if I don't, it's out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
So I lost so much money, so many deals because of that. You know what I mean? So that's one thing. I'm still working on it. I'm trying to figure out, like, Jaquel helped me out putting together like an Excel spreadsheet. I've been using that. So lately But if I had that in the beginning
It would've
versus
been a
like
different
10 years
ballgame.
in,
Yeah.
you know, fortunately, you know, and you need organization. Another thing that I wish I had, but I don't really wish I had because it's the process. It's what you had to go through.
Yeah, that's right.
You know?
Yeah.
So if I didn't go through the things that I went through, it would have been like, but I wish I had Photoshop.
Ooh.
You know what I mean? Like, I wish I learned Photoshop. I had an opportunity to 10 years ago to get Photoshop for free, right? And to learn it for free. And I didn't take advantage of that opportunity. You know what I'm saying? And because I was like, that's not me. I'm the boss. Now guess what?
Now you wish.
I wish I had it.
Now you wish you had it.
So,
earlier you mentioned that, you needed to have faith in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what I was lacking too at the beginning of my journey. Because I was like, okay, I know what I wanted. And I was really hungry. Like I went and I dived 100% into what it meant to create an educational institute. But I didn't trust myself enough, like I didn't know that I could create something of value and then put a price on it that I knew was attached to that value. Like I didn't press people to operate in a certain way around me. I also didn't impress myself onto others too. Like I wasn't even going out and promoting myself the way I should have been promoting myself. So I had to go through parts of my journey in order to get to a point where I'm like, you know what? Shoot, like I'm owed this money. Yeah. Like I'm worth this money. And I think back to my first classes that cost like, $200,
Mm-hmm.
But now my classes are like 2-3 times that amount. And it's the same content, better content, and I get even more students because they know that they're paying for a certain kind of value.
Exactly.
So, okay. All right, journey. All right, faith. All right, grind. All right, inspire. Okay, I see you. I have 2 more questions for you. We talked about the tools that you wish you had. But now that you have access to the tools that you need, how do you keep up with what you'll need moving forward? Like, how do you consume information? Do you read a lot? Do you watch the
absolutely.
news?
No.
Like, what gets you...
So, interesting enough, right?
Yeah.
I don't watch the news.
Okay.
Right? I don't watch the news because I try to have a positive mindset and positive outlook on life. I know sometimes the media sometimes it's supposed to scare you.
Yeah,
right?
That's true.
To take action. Like if you see people dying of the flu, guess what? You always see someone dying of a flu right before, you know what I mean? Right before flu seasons, right? Yep. And so all of a sudden it forces people to go get the flu shot, right? I've never had the flu shot.
I've only had it like
and
once.
My mom is like medical professional and she tells me not to do it.
Wait,
you know what I mean?
It's on me?
So, it's what it is. But anyway, so I don't watch the news.
Yeah.
I don't, I read a lot. I read a lot of...
What are you reading right now?
I'm reading actually Charlemagne's book.
Okay. I read like maybe the first 2 or 3 chapters.
Yeah.
He's a little bit like,
So I'm reading Charlemagne's book right now. Yeah, he's a little, but it's interesting because it's like, because I want to see the mindset of like, you know what I mean? Like it's just
someone
different.
In his position.
Yeah. It's just because I remember when he first came into the industry, right? I was like, yo, he's not gonna last.
He's gonna crash and burn.
Yeah, I thought so.
But he picked his own lane.
He picked his own lane.
That's it.
And he stuck with it.
Yep.
And he sort of shifted a little. He did shift a little, cleaned it up a little because the way he was going, it's like what he talks about 6ix9ine.
Yeah. There's
only one way or 2 ways it's going to end up. So he saw that and he's like, look, I have a family.
Yeah.
And I can't keep doing this because if I do this, it's not going to work.
Yeah. There's a level of maturity that has to happen if you're on the direction of success.
Exactly.
There's no other way around it.
Yeah.
Like, either you're learning lessons or you're mindlessly going through the process.
Absolutely.
But if you're mindfully going through the process, there is a level of maturity that you have to reach, but it's ongoing. It never ends.
And there's another book that I read twice a year.
Okay.
Right? Which is called Time Traps.
Okay.
Yeah. And
Let me take some notes. Ms.
yeah.
Wynnie.
So Time Traps is a book by an author named Todd Duncan. I met him. I had the pleasure of meeting him when I was like 21. I drove all the way up to Boston, Massachusetts
Oh, wow.
to watch this man speak.
Oh, wow.
Right? Todd Duncan, I was in real estate. I was in mortgages, and this guy was like the guy. And instead of teaching people how to sell, he was teaching people about time. He was teaching salespeople about time, how to manage your time.
Okay.
And this book is all about time traps. So every couple months, when I feel like I'm getting caught with the technology trap, when I'm getting caught with the yes trap, because as entrepreneurs,
Yes.
because you're an entrepreneur, you have
say yes.
your schedule of yourself. Like you work for yourself.
Yes.
So other people who have 9 to 5, their mentality is you don't have a job,
Yeah.
so you are free.
Yeah.
You could do. If I ask you to do something for me, you could actually do it.
But that's not how it works.
But that's not how it works.
No.
But here's the deeper thing, Wynnie. If you start saying yes, that means you didn't really respect your grind,
Yep.
quote unquote. You didn't respect your entrepreneurship journey in the first place. Because think about it. If that person would never disrespect your boss and if you had a 9 to 5 to ask you to do any errands, even during your lunch break.
Yep.
But they felt comfortable enough to ask you, hey, I need you to go pick up my dry cleaning
Yep.
today at 11. And you said, okay. Oh, I need you to babysit my kids. Okay. I need you to go wash my car. Okay. You know why? Because you are either procrastinating with your journey
Yep.
or you didn't respect your grind.
Yep.
So you're going to always keep saying yes to people, and that's it.
Yep, that's facts. You know, I had to explain that to my mom earlier. I had to explain that to my mom earlier today. Should I keep talking? Okay.
Yeah.
So I had to explain this to my mother, not today, yesterday as I was driving with her. And she was saying, Haitian moms, they always have like some comments to make about like, oh, well, what's the benefit of this and what's the advantage of this? As a Haitian child, either you have to be a doctor, a lawyer, or an engineer. And if you're not any of those things, all of a sudden you've fallen outside of the realm of like what's successful.
Absolutely.
And part of the problem with that is I think there's an image attached to being an entrepreneur, like, oh, you have time to yourself, you have flexibility. But you're right. If you actually respect your grind and you're actually learning lessons from your journey, your time is so valuable. You can't use up your time for just anything.
No.
You can't just
You have
be
to learn
out.
how to say no.
You have to learn how to say no. And you also have to learn not just learn. I mean, this might not be the same for you because, we live in a patriarchal society. I'm a woman, you're a man. But I had to also learn how to not feel bad about saying no.
Oh, same here.
I had to learn to be like,
Same here.
no, but also like not beat myself up because I didn't do this thing that I thought this person really, really needed from me. So
No, absolutely. Like, I had to learn how to say no to my mom. My mom would be like, oh, I'm going to a wedding on Saturday. I need you to help bring me to Manhattan to go pick up a dress. And I'm like, no. My wife, my mom, everybody knows don't call me during the weekday, during my work day.
Yeah.
Because here's and this is my advice to entrepreneurs.
let me take notes.
Right? You have 40 hours, right? When you're at work, put in time for work. When you're with family, put the work aside and be present with the family.
Yes.
I was telling my wife this yesterday, and I got in trouble.
Wait.
Right? I mean, I got in trouble because of the way I am. When I'm present with you, I'm present with you.
Yes.
So I forget. Everything gets lost. That's why when people say, oh, my God, it's like, no, it's because I'm present.
Yep.
So
As you should be.
As I'm not going to be talking to Wynnie, doing this interview and worried about Brooklyn Swirl and construction.
Yep.
I'm not worried about that right now. Right now, it's just me, you, and these listeners.
Yep.
And that's the most important thing right now. I can't worry about a print job. I can't worry about the books. I can't, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when you're at work, so I had to explain that. When you're at work, when I'm at work, I can't be taking personal phone calls unless it's like a dire emergency, unless my son is going to the ER. Don't call me to tell me he learned how to spell Elmo. You know,
But he learned how to spell Elmo.
it's not right now. When I'm home, we'll talk about Elmo, and you tell me about that. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and that's my thing.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So, as entrepreneurs, we have to understand that, because guess what? At the end of the month, when bills are due,
Yep.
if you don't have the money, all those people you talking to
Yep.
that keep calling you on their lunch break,
Yep. They'll be the first ones to judge you.
they're like, oh, you're not making no money? Psst. You need to go get a job.
Yep.
And you're like, yeah, but I spent half the month talking to you.
Yep.
I spent half the month doing errands for you,
Yep.
running around, chasing for you.
Yep.
They're like, yo, well, if I knew you weren't going to make money, you should have told me no.
Yikes. Yikes.
And then all of a sudden you're like, but this keeps happening. This is the cycle.
Yep. Yep.
So with that being said, that's the biggest thing I would say.
You know, creating boundaries is something that...
Creating boundaries. I love it.
Creating boundaries is something that everyone has to learn. And I mean, you know, a lot of lessons that entrepreneurs learn are lessons that like anybody could use in their day-to-day life. And I think that boundaries and making sure that you're clear about like, this is what I need for me right now is infinitely more beneficial than like any book you could read or any like class you could take, because now you're focusing yourself and centering yourself. And when you good, everything else can be
absolutely.
good. So, all right. So this is the last question.
Okay, go ahead.
So I always love to talk about my sister circles. So I have a circle of sisters who I lean on, Ms. Ami. I call them for like every little thing. I'm like, I didn't do this. I need your help for this, support this. I don't know where I would be without this group of women that I helped mindfully mold and put together. So my question to you is, how important is it to you to surround yourself with a certain type of person? How important is it to you?
Oh, no, absolutely. Like, it's very important. That's chapter, I think, 2 or 3 in my book.
Boy.
Right? Surround yourself with the positive people, right? And I'm talking about friends, spouse, relationships, family members. Like, everybody has to be in that same mindset. If not, get rid of them. People always, my wife always tells me this. She's like, oh my God, you're like, this person is so nice to you. I thought you would keep them around forever. And I'm like, no, they're right for that season. But the way I'm growing every day and every way, I get better and better and better.
Yep.
If you want to stay where you are, if you're not growing, you can't come with me.
Yeah.
Because I'm not, I used to spend years and months going back, pulling. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm not doing that anymore.
Yeah.
Why? Yeah. So if you're not growing in your career, if you're not growing with your family, I don't want you. I don't want you around me.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's me. Now, here's the thing. 'Cause I spent too many years trying to do it.
Okay.
My circle, Jaquel, we own a business together.
Okay.
My boy Frank, we've been friends since 3rd grade.
Wow.
Frank is different. You know what I mean? Frank is like, I want to like, but he's a Virgo. I'm a Scorpio, so he's a Virgo. He's mad chill, mad laid back. It's gonna get done. It's gonna get done, right? Like, tell you a funny story about Frank. Me and Frank would be running to the train station for like an interview, right, or whatever, a meeting, and I'm running to the train station. Frank is walking, and I'm like, "Where's your sense of urgency?" But at the end, and then the funny thing is, at the end, what happens? We both get on the train together. So what does that show? You see what I'm saying? But now, here's the thing. Is it because I let the train leave and I waited for the next one because I was waiting for him? Because that happens. Like, I would literally be able to go in the train and leave him. That happened actually once, you know?
And y'all are still friends?
No, we're still friends. But the thing is, but for a long time, I used to just wait. I'll let that train go and take the other one and wait for him. But then I realized, nah, you know the address. You have your phone. You have the Google Maps.
The Google Maps.
You see what I'm saying? You're not making me late. You know where to go. Meet me.
Okay.
So anyway, Frank, my wife,
Okay.
you know, is someone who keeps me sharp.
Yes.
Like, my wife keeps me sharp. there might be people around me that agree with everything I say. She's not. She puts me on. She's like, I'm like, yeah, look what I did with the office. She's like, yeah, this office looks like a storage room.
Wow.
And I'm like, damn. You know what I mean? Because I'm thinking it. I'll tell you an interesting thing. If I have a book signing and I brought 30 books with me, but there was like 100 people there, she would go, I'd be like, yo, babe, I sold 30 books. She'd be like, how many people were there? I'd be like, 100. She's like, so why don't you sell for 100? You can sell books online. Don't you have a Square? Don't they have credit cards? Can't you ship it to them?
Oh, wow.
Why don't you sell to 100 people? And I'm like,
okay, wife.
Damn.
Okay.
So she doesn't let me settle.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? She doesn't let me, no complacent.
Yes.
So I feel like it's important to surround yourself. As a man of color in America, it's hard. I always say this, I put this in my book. If you want real success and you have a spouse, your spouse has to lift you up at home, recharge you at home.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Facts. That's super facts. I think about the concept of energy a lot, like not just the energy that I put out there into the world, but also the energy that I receive from other people. So if I feel like the energy that I'm absorbing into me is an energy that serves me, I'm just like, I can't do this. Absolutely. I have gotten in my 30s, don't let the brown skin fool you. In my 30s, I have learned to step away. I've learned to just step away.
Yeah, step away.
Like if I'm not feeling this, I primarily work for myself. I'm grown. I'm comfortable with taking responsibility for the consequences. I can walk away. I can just be like, this isn't serving me. I'm going to go to someplace else or someone else or something else that can serve me in a way that I know will nurture me. And I think about nurturing all the time. I think about energy all the time. And those are things that drive not just my work, but my interactions with people, the people that love up on me, my little sister who's 11, who I'm trying to teach things that I wish I had known at 11. So, geez, all right, Gene, we could talk for hours more.
We're going to do this again. No, we're going to bring you back. We're going to do this again. I love it. The conversation, this is how we talk every day.
Yes. Yes.
So you're done?
That's it.
That's it? Okay. So we're going to do a part 2. So everybody, I want to wish you a Happy New Year. I'll see you guys next week. Hope you guys had a great Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Christmas.
All of that.
All of that. So, and I hope you guys tune in, keep sharing this podcast. Thank you to my producers, Tim, Jamie, the OG Podcast Network. You can catch us every Wednesday on any of those platforms, Spotify, Apple, wherever what is it called? Stitcher. That's where you listen to it. That's where I listen to it. Yeah. So, thank you, Wynnie, for interviewing me for this final podcast of the year.
Thank you, Gene.
I'll see you guys next year.
All
Peace. This is the final episode of the podcast for 2018. I want to thank everybody who was instrumental to making this happen. Jamie. I want to thank Barbara. We call her Roxy Digital for 103.9. I want to thank everybody at Cumulus. I want to thank the OG Podcast Network. I want to thank my man Tim again. Brianna. I want to thank Taylor. I want to thank all the interns that helped out. I want to thank all the listeners, everybody who subscribed. Thank you all to all the guests that came on for every episode and sharing your story, and continue to inspire the world, man. So God bless. Thank you again. Peace.